How is it going, folks? Klutzy Joe coming at you with yet another review, and this time I figured I might as well just tackling something that is being very controversial right now. That being the brand spanking new movie that has just dropped, Halloween Ends. Now, folks, ooh boy, okay, so a little bit of a bro talk on this one. You guys, Ooh, there is a lot of controversy on this one. Now, there's going to be a lot of cussing. There's going to be a lot of anger. There's going to be a hot take. This is a rant, folks. All right. So anybody that is very delicate about stuff, you know what? Go ahead. Go ahead and tune out. Go see the movie first, and then after that, assess the level of anger. And if you're really angry about it, then come back. If not, well, then just yeah. But if you've already seen it and you've already seen my you've already seen my title, and you could kind of guess what is it that's gonna happen. So, oh, where do I start? Where do I start? Okay, so let's just give you a brief little synopsis of the history of the movie. Um, this is actually the third movie from David Gordon Green, who actually started with the 2018 Halloween movie. Now, in that movie, it's trying to pick off of the 1978 movie where Laurie ended up getting victimized by Michael Myers. So, with that being said, you actually get to see that 40 years have passed, and Laurie, instead of her actually getting therapy and getting better help and seeking a way to resolve this in a good way, what she did is that she actually, instead of that, became a recluse and started building her house up into being a fortress, waiting anxiously for the day when Michael Myers eventually gets out, which it's kind of trippy and all that stuff. You would actually, any victim would actually want that person to stay in jail or stay in a mental institute, no matter what. I don't know how is that. Whatever. I guess we all deal with our things. So Michael just so happens to get out because he was actually being transferred on over to this one of the penitentiary, and the thing crashes. He goes out and starts, you know, he starts spilling blood and guts and spitting ass all over the place. Right, guy's going ballistic, like he's fucking everybody up. All right, and he's going into kill mode and all that stuff. And meanwhile, once Lori finds out that this crazy son of a bitch got out, she's just like, "We need to find him. We need to kill him." And she does. She actually goes and she's on the hunt for Michael. So you get to see that she's actually doing all that shit. In the meantime, she's we get to see that she has actually eloped, had a kid, had a granddaughter. We don't get to see daddy anywhere, but yeah, okay. So and she's estranged from her family. All right, so that's kind of a thing. So she's estranged from her family, and they're not in the best of speaking terms. At least her and her daughter and all that stuff. And the granddaughter kind of grew up without Lori in the picture, and she wants to get that reconnection. So um once Michael gets out, Lori starts going into panic mode, and she's just like, "I gotta protect my loved ones and everything." Down to a point where it's actually kind of being reminiscent of Lori's daughter actually saying like, "Yeah, this is how crazy she was all my life, and now she's actually trying to do this to you. I won't let it happen now, whatever." So you get to see that Lori is prepared for this stuff. She's actually she's doing everything. Meanwhile, fucking Michael Myers is wreaking havoc and everything, which all this happens. We later find out that Doctor Zartain has a fascination. The new Doctor Loomis, and he's always ended up having a curiosity of what would happen if Michael and Laurie Strode would actually be put in the same place. So he gets Michael, takes him over to that one place, and then after that, Michael eventually just he overpowers the doctor and everything. And I mean, it's convoluted. I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but eventually, Doctor Zartain gets killed, and Michael just so happens to end up being um in front of Laurie Strode's house and stuff. So when he goes on in, Lori is prepared. She's already home alone the hell out of that house, and little by little, all these through traps and everything, and somehow they end up having their epic their epic face off, which ends up with Michael being kicked into the cellar and getting locked in there, and the house being set on fire, and all three of the Strodes end up surviving, and they get carried out. They hitchhike their way out of there. We go on over to the second movie. It ends up starting right then and there, where on that very same night, while they're actually getting picked up, there's firefighters that actually got called in, and they're going over to turn off the flames, which, that's where you get to see, like, Lori's in the trailer. You get to see that she's just like, no, let him burn, let him burn, let it burn, let it burn. So anyways, the firefighters show up, and they're trying to freaking take this down. And meanwhile, while all that stuff is going on, we also kind of get a little brief glimpse into what happened to the other kids that were involved in the '78 movie. So we get to see Tommy Doyle, and we also get to see the little girl. And now they're already 40-year-olds. They're already grown up, and they're all kicking back in a bar, but they haven't forgotten. And they're always talking about, like, oh well, that was real evil that night. That was real evil. And so, anyways, um, Lori and the daughter and the granddaughter end up going on over to the hospital so that they could turn Lori in and get her checked out because she took massive damage. All right. While all that happens, the firefighters are trying to turn off the fire, and it just so happens that Michael Myers gets freed from the trap, leading into what's probably the most badass fucking entrance in the whole Halloween franchise. The badass reintroduction. It was Michael Myers basically coming out, and he was just like, please allow me to reintroduce myself. He came on all badass. I swear, all we needed was the Kane, the WWE Kane theme song to actually fucking put a cap on this one, because he came in through that door. It was all fire. There was fires and everything. And he's coming on in, and he's looking all badass, takes down each and every single one of these firefighters, and then proceeds to go back to what is it that he was doing. So he starts killing everybody and all that stuff. Meanwhile, Tommy actually hears about this stuff, and he's just like, oh, well, we gotta put a stop to this. Evil dies tonight. And he starts garnering up momentum. He starts gathering up a mob. And while all that is happening, we also find out that there was another inmate that escaped the crash. So it wasn't just Michael, it was another inmate. But because of the hysteria, the mass hysteria that Tommy makes, keep that in mind, Tommy makes, people actually get paranoid, and now they start looking for the escaped inmate that they kind of catch, and they suspect that it's Michael Myers when it's not. And so they fucking corner him. The guy loses it. And eventually he throws himself out the window of the hospital, giving him, committing suicide, and then the most grisly death of all. You get to hear that nasty ass thud, and people are just like, holy shit. But Tommy's just like, oh, fuck, what have I done? Because people start telling him, like, that's not Michael. Lori even tells him that's not Michael, and all that stuff. So he hears that, and then after that, he finds out that there's a fucking carnage wave that's actually on the other side of on the other side of town, and he's just like, oh, so he's still alive. Okay, well, crazy guy got killed, but oh well, we gotta go after him because evil dies tonight. So goes on over, picks up what's left of his friends and all that stuff. They go on over to fucking find Michael, which they do. And Michael was just trying to be in his own fucking house. He wasn't even trying to bother anybody or anything like that. He wasn't after the whole killing spree and all that stuff. And I know it sounds creepy, right? Like, I'm trying to make it sound empathetic and all that stuff, but he wasn't really trying to pick up any more fights. He was already like, all that killing that he did was, from where he was on over to his house. So now that he's at his house, he wants to stay tame. He doesn't want anything to do with anyone. Meanwhile, Lori's Lori's daughter and Laurie's granddaughter, actually. Laurie's granddaughter ends up teaming up with one of the kids that ended up freaking surviving the Myers onslaught from the first movie, and they go on over to freaking kill Michael, and they go inside the house and all that stuff. Which just so happens that the boy that she was actually kicking with fucking gets aced right there too, and they find the dead body and then so on and so forth. So eventually Michael Myers kills the fucking boyfriend and all that stuff. And this girl is just like, fuck, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Michael's already coming, like, you're dead now. He doesn't talk. He should. But whatever. And then, no, he shouldn't. That's sacrilegious. Anyways, so then the daughter shows up and she fucking shoots him and then stabs him. And while Michael is down, proceeds to take off the mask. Michael gets up and she's just like, you wanted this? You followed an innocent woman over to this. Oh my god. And then she starts running away. Meanwhile, all that is happening. Sheriff Brackett, who actually sustained some, Sheriff Brackett, if you don't remember, for all of you, who may not actually remember, came out in the original 78 movie, and, oh no, not Sheriff Brackett, what was the name, fuck, I forgot it was a crush of, he was just mentioned on the first movie, but it turns out that the guy turns out to be a cop, and whatever. Then something happened. He got stabbed by Dr. Satang in the first movie, and he sustained injury. So now in Halloween Kills, he's actually in the hospital along next to Laurie. And they both start talking, and Laurie at first, she actually starts talking to this guy. She's just like, I just can't rest, Tommy, I forgot what was his name, but yeah, the guy's actually telling him, I'm gonna catch out for this one. But anyway, so the guy's just like, yeah, listen, I don't know what you're talking about, but you know what? Michael was not following you. He hasn't come after you. As a matter of fact, it was his doctor who took him over there. So instantly, you get a slap in the face on over for Laurie, and now she has to realize, like, yeah, you know what? With all this going on, look at how evil people have actually become, and you know what? Michael Myers is not just a human being. He's just an evil entity. Kind of like a spirit. It made it look like that. Like if there was some supernatural kind of stuff. And so while they are both talking right there, Michael has already, he already happy mealed the shit out of the boyfriend of the granddaughter, and the granddaughter was next. Then the mom comes on over, did all that stuff that I just told you, and then walks with the mask on over to the other side of the street. Michael follows her, and then he finds out that there's a mob right there, and the entire mob just goes ballistic. I'm talking about like Babe Ruth would be proud about how is it that people just batted the shit out of freaking Michael Myers. They just beat him down, and then eventually and then Laurie's daughter gets his knife after he got beat down, gets his knife and then stabs him. And then you get that little monologue like, he's not human. He there's something strange about him and all that stuff. And then that's when you get to see that Michael actually stood up, gets the knife out, starts fucking happy meeting the fuck out of everybody. Like everybody got filleted to shit. All right. Meanwhile, the daughter, when she stabbed him, she fucking walked away and she went on over to check on her daughter, on the granddaughter of Laurie. And they're just sitting down right there in front of the house. And meanwhile, paramedics are actually going on to check up on them along with cops and all that stuff. But while all that is happening, all the mob that was led by Tommy Doyle, they all got aced. Everybody, including Tommy. And so then there's a shot when you get to see, like the final shot was that Laurie's daughter walks on over to the house, which just so happens to be Michael Myers' house. I forgot to say that. I'm sorry, but and she walks up to where it turns out that it was Michael's room. And who do you think that was right there, huh? Yeah, it was Michael. And then he also fucking flaming on their ass. And so, to put into perspective, all this shit happened. You would think that Laurie As soon as she heard that shit, she's in a fucking hospital. She could have gotten some. She could have just jacked some freaking some epinephrine shots. Just pumped them onto her, and then she could have fucking went Chef Chelios on fucking Michael Myers and all that shit. She would have followed him to the fucking pits of hell. I don't know, because that's what we would all do after we find out that there's a loved one that just got aced. Like you best believe that there ain't gonna be a force in hell or heaven on earth or anything. There is nothing that's gonna stop me. I'm coming after your ass. That's the thing. So we cut on over to this movie, and the movie starts off with a babysitter that was taking care of this kid. I'm gonna circle on that one, all right? I'm gonna circle on all this, and this babysitter is actually taking care of this kid who just so happens to be an asshole, and all this is actually happening I think a year after the whole Michael Myers thing ended up happening. All right, so they kind of say that stuff, and they do also acknowledge that Michael Myers was not caught. The little kid is being an asshole and he's just saying like Michael Myers is gonna come and kill you because he doesn't end up like a babysitter, so he's gonna fucking kill you. And the babysitter just tripped the fuck out, right? He goes on over to make a sandwich and all that shit. Meanwhile, the little kid ends up being an asshole, goes on, runs on up, and he starts fucking acting like if he's actually getting attacked or some shit. The babysitter panics, runs up, only to proceed to get locked into a room by that little asshole kid. And then the little kid is actually telling him like, "Watch out for Michael, watch out for Michael." So he's being an asshole, all right? And the babysitter starts losing his shit. He starts panicking out, and then he fucking King Leonidas Spartan kicked the fuck out of that fucking door. I'm talking about like boom. The door swings open. It kicks the kid. It hits the kid, and the kid actually falls off the railing, falling 3 floors down to his death. And you get to hear that nasty ass thud, and it's just like fuck. And at that point, the parents show up, and then they look up, and they're just like, "What the fuck did you do? What the fuck did you do?" And boom, titles. Halloween ends. So opening is already kind of a little weird, but it's kind of setting the tone as to what is gonna happen. Anyways, so 3 years later, we get picked up with 3 years later. So mind you, it's been 4 years since that shit happened that Michael Myers got out. 4 years. All right, I'm already running a little bit long, far on this one. I can see it all the time, but hey, you came here for a good review, so I'm gonna give you a good review. 4 years happened. All right, and where you would think that Lori, who fucking home alone the shit out of her house, who became the ultimate badass and everything, you would think that she would be out there night in and night out trying to fucking find a Michael, having to have contingency plans, having to have that anger because he killed her daughter and she didn't and nobody fucking found him. Like there should be a fireball in her ass so fucking late that she would be looking after him. And we fucking catch this evil Terminator woman as a suburban grandma. Yeah, a suburban grandma who lives in the same house as her granddaughter. And she's just acting all domestic and all that stuff. She even goes on over and she shops like a regular person. And then when somebody goes evil on her and reminds her that you're fucking crazy, then she breaks down and she starts crying like a little old lady. Nothing all that big or assuming about her or anything like that. Meanwhile, the kid that the babysitter that ended up freaking killing the little kid, accidentally, he's trying to pick up his life and he's trying to work, but the town would not let him. They're picking on him and they're shitting on him, and there was a group of high schoolers that actually asked him to buy him fucking beer, but but he says no because he doesn't want to get into trouble. Then after that, they're just like, I know you fucking killed that kid, didn't you? And they start fucking harassing him, and they even hit him with a fucking glass bottle. The guy falls down. Lori comes over to save the day. The high schoolers are just like, oh look, 2 crazies now. Ideal. But Lori finds him and takes him to the fucking hospital where the granddaughter is now working. It's the same hospital, mind you, where they ended up freaking where Lori was taken. The same hospital where there was a suicide and all that stuff. And, you would think that being involved in all that shit, you would want to get the fuck out of there. Or get the fuck out of town, period. But no, she's actually working in that hospital now. And Lori shows up with this guy. And then they actually end up having a little moment right there. They're all talking and all that stuff. And she's flirting with him and all that. And she takes him on over to a party. And this guy is actually finally starting to let loose. He's trying to relax, but then he runs into the little boy's mom, and she's just like, "How can you live with yourself, you son of a bitch? You killed my son!" And he's just like, "No, no!" He just fucking walks out, and while all that is happening, then Laura's granddaughter follows him, and he's just like, "I know what the fuck you're doing. You're trying to create me, turn me into like a pet, or like a side project and all that stuff. And you know what? I don't need this." And so he walks away, and he's walking under the rain, and he's all sad. And the granddaughter's just like, she fucks off. All right, she just disappears for that moment. And while that guy is actually walking down, he's walking in the bridge, mind you. The same high schoolers that fucking heckle him, they find him, they start heckling him, and then they're just like, "You're the fucking child murderer, huh?" So they start aggravating him, and they throw his ass over the bridge. And this is a pretty high fall. You would think that there would be like bones breaking or something like that. And there's some of the kids that are just like, "Oh my god, what the fuck did you do?" "I don't give a fuck. I'm fucking him out of here." So they all drive away and fuck off too. Meanwhile, the guy actually gets up. He spent the whole night right there, just laying down. When he wakes up, he sees that there's like a sewer drain opening and all that shit. And I don't know why, but he goes in there. And he's just looking around and everything. And then he kind of gets a weird, creepy vibe. And then all of a sudden, when he turns around, boom! There's a hand. It's Michael Myers. "Oh my god, it's Michael Myers!" And he grabs him and he's looking at him. But once they make eye contact, all of a sudden Michael kind of does this weird fucking, "I'm downloading information from you and I'm seeing what the fuck you did and how is it you killed the little kid and all that shit. Oh, you're a killer too," or whatever. And then he lets him go. And meanwhile, the guy also ends up freaking seeing that, and he's traumatized because he just saw death and everything. He gets out of the fucking drain, and there's a homeless man that's walking right there, and he's just like, "You saw him, huh? You saw him, huh? Nah, fuck that. You got off free. You know what? Get your ass back in there and get me that mask. I'm the real Michael Myers. Go get it for me." And then after that, the kid fucking kills him. That's his first kill, and he's just shitless scared. All right. And what does he do? He runs over to Lori and Lori's granddaughter, and he's trying to fucking talk to her and all that stuff. But in that same date that they go out, he confesses like, "I killed someone." Now, Lori's granddaughter just went through the whole Michael Myers thing. All right, she was she was in the spot when the mom got killed, which it didn't even get addressed. All right, she was outside the house. The mom got filleted inside. All right, you would think that after hearing something like that, she would run to the fucking hills. What she does is that she grabs his hand, and they're just like, and there they go. Meanwhile, this guy keeps on getting harassed by the fucking people right there, right? But he got the thrill of killing somebody, so he wants to kill another person. And it just so happens that, Laura's granddaughter ended up having a boyfriend who just so happens to be a fucking cop and an asshole, and starts picking on him and all that shit. And the guy's just like, "You know what?" Like a good boyfriend, he just fucking tells him to fuck off. And the other guy's just like, "Oh, really?" And cut to later on in the movie, the guy is actually, the dude actually sees, babysitter and starts chasing him down to the fucking, down to under the bridge. In which case, fucking, that fucking kid starts going over and starts wailing on him and all that stuff. And then, he runs into the sewer, which the guy follows him. And then eventually you get to see that Michael Myers just comes on out and fucking stabs that fucking guy. So you could kind of see like they tag teamed on that dude. And you're just like, "Oh, okay. I guess." But you get to see how is it that Michael comes out and he's just like, "Oh, decrepit and all the shit, he can barely fucking walk." And as soon as he stabs him, it looks like he's actually jizzing. He's just like, And now he's back to life. I shit you not, that's how he looks. Alright? I said that this wasn't for kids, alright? So that happens. And that kid starts trying to fucking have a normal life, and but then he keeps on getting picked on, and finally he just had enough of this shit. And he's just like, fuck this, I'm tired of all this. I'm tired of those high schoolers that just so happen to have actually showed up in his fucking dad's fucking in his dad's fucking shop and all that stuff. So he's just like, fuck this, I'm tired of this. He goes down to the fucking sewer and punk bitches Michael out of the mask. Like literally, this dude just walked into that shit like if he was the fucking like the typical like son and dad. He shows up and he's just like, I'm taking the court, dad. And the dad is just like, fuck you is. And they start fucking scuffling right there. In which you get to see that Michael Myers kind of gets the shit out of that guy on over to the other side of the fucking screen. And then he walks over to him. They start beating the shit out of each other. And you get to see that they struggle. Eventually Michael Myers slips and falls. The other kid gets on top of him and starts fucking beating on him and takes a mask. This is Michael Myers, who I forgot to mention that still has pretty good strength. He carried a 98-pound woman in between all that I just told you in a fucking scene prior to that him and the other kid ended up doing the whole tag team thing. He killed a woman by carrying her with one hand, pinning her to the wall, and fucking stabbing her. Very very cool homage to the fucking old movies and all that shit. But yes, he was still full strength, and he got taken down by this kid. This kid then proceeds to go on over and make sure that the fucking high schoolers end up seeing him, right? So he scratches their fucking car and sees that the fucking high schoolers see him, and he's just like, fuck you. Haul his ass. And then the fucking people end up fucking going after him so in which they fucking find him in his dad's junkyard thing, right? In his dad's shop. And that's when you get to see that kid ends up donning the Michael Myers mask. So you would think, oh my god, okay, so the evil just got passed on over to him, and now this is a different entity. You would think that there was that supernatural thing that they talked about in Kills. Now it's actually taking over this kid, and now this is the new Michael Myers. And there's a lot of it that you get to see that it gives you that feeling like that's exactly what's happening. And yes, it's brutal. He starts picking them off one by one. But the kills happen off fucking screen. What the fuck? There was even one shot where the fucking main asshole who was picking on him, who fucking shoved him down and everything. You would think that there would be like, okay, let's fucking see this guy get killed. You know how he gets killed? He gets a blowtorch shoved into his mouth. And yes, it sounds fucking crazy and all that stuff. If you're a horror movie, you're just like, that's fucking amazing. I want to see that. No, you don't see that because it's on the fucking corner of this fucking screen. Do you see right here? He's right fucking here. In blurry mode. And it's more focused on somebody else's reaction. So you don't get to see the fucking kill happen. You vaguely kind of see it. It's mostly just blurred out. You don't see shit. You don't see the graphicness about it. So, while all that is happening, Lori and her granddaughter are starting to have arguments. Because Lori just so happens to prior to the argument, end up fucking trying to figure out what's up with this guy and all that shit. And that she actually, tried talking to him at one point, but the guy ends up having like a different, like something in his eyes and all that shit. And she's just like, there's some darkness into this fucking guy. And she goes and she tries to warn the granddaughter, and she's like fucking telling her like, listen, I saw the same evil that I saw in Michael's eyes in that kid. Mind you, she took off the mask in the 78 movie and hasn't seen his face since, but I guess that's how hard the impression was. And the granddaughter's just like, you know what? You're just a piece of, you're just happy because you actually want me to be just like you and to be fucking horrified and everything and scared of life and actually just be like that. You're not gonna let me live my life, and you know what? I can't deal with you. Goodbye. But kicks her out of her room. And Lori is just like, fuck, man. All right. So we kind of get to see that she's devastated. She goes on, she walks on up to her room, And I think that before that, she might have seen that there was a door that was open or some shit like that. I don't know. I think I might be connecting the dots here. Might need to watch it again. But she walks up and she actually has a bottle, like if she was gonna fucking wail on somebody. But she just sits down and she just keeps on writing the memoirs that she was writing from the very start of the movie, and she starts drinking her wine, and you get to see that she's devastated. She turns on a fucking pumpkin. She's just like, fuck my life. She picks up a fucking phone and she's just like, I'd like to report a suicide. And then she actually goes on over and she gets a fucking gun, and you get to hear a gunshot go. All right, now that whole door open and all that shit, that's just me connecting the dots, but I don't remember. I don't think that that's exactly how it went down, but whatever. All right, so while that happens, the camera pans on over to the fucking stairs where you get to see that mini Michael Myers is actually walking over, or Michael Myers Jr., whatever you want to call him. He walks in and he walks up and he hears the fucking gunshot go, and he just looks in, and then there's Laurie with the fucking gun. Did you think that I was gonna kill myself, you son of a bitch? Bah! Fucking shoots this guy. The guy falls off the 2 floors down, and then he's just laying down right there. And she goes on over to fucking, get him to fucking get up and all that stuff. But the guy just takes off his mask and looks at her, and apparently, they had that connection before and all that stuff. Like they kind of had a talk and all that stuff, and he basically told her that, if I can't have your granddaughter, then no one will. He repeats that fucking line in this one, and he's just like, if I can't have your granddaughter, then no one will. He gets a knife and crack, fucking guts himself. In which Lori then, after she sees that shit, and the guy falls down, you would think that she would end up having common sense, just like everybody else. But no, she goes and then she gets the knife out, which is bloody as fuck, and she's bloodied the fuck out because apparently it hit an artery. The granddaughter walks on in, and then she sees that shit, and she's just like, "What the fuck?" And Lori's just like, "No, ooh, ooh." It's not what it looks like. Like she's just like, "Fuck you." She leaves, and Lori's just like having a mental breakdown. She's just like, "Fuck," and she goes on over to the corner and starts crying. While that happens, the actual Michael Myers shows up and picks up the mask and just trying to get the knife, but mini Michael Myers is just like, no, no, don't do it. Michael Myers then comes on over, grabs his fucking head, and then after that proceeds to fucking kill him by snapping his fucking neck. Alright? He gets a fucking knife, and then he goes after fucking Laurie, which somehow Laurie is just right there. Now, 3 movies. 3 movies. Alright? In total with this one. 3 movies of anticipation for this big ass fight between Laurie and Michael. 3 movies. And when it happens, it only lasts about 5 minutes. Alright? The same Laurie that now is a domesticated grandma who who is not killing anybody, who's not going after the killer of the daughter, who's not trying to do anything. She, the same one that actually ended up being cold crazy and started crying because I can't believe you, my feelings are hurt. That one, fucking threw, lopsided the fucking the fucking fridge down on Michael, impaling him, and then was about to kill him when Michael actually reaches up, kind of like a defiant fuck you and all that stuff, chokes fucking Laurie, and Laurie is just like, she's already had enough. She's just like, fuck it, do it, do it, do it. The granddaughter shows up, fucking cuts his, breaks his arm very easy, like if it was a fucking twig, and then after that they fucking cut open his fucking wrist, and and around that time, the fucking police and everybody show up at Laurie's house, and they're just like, "Fuck, man! I mean, she's gonna kill herself." Then they find out, the sheriff bracket, or the sheriff, I forgot. Well, fuck it, the sheriff, that sheriff love interest. All right, he shows up and he sees that Laurie's just standing right there, all bloody the fuck out, and Michael Myers is right there impaled. He's like, "Michael, yes." All right then. So, fuck it. What they decide to do is the most weirdest, cringiest fucking thing ever. They actually pick up the dead body, they put it on top of the fucking car, because prior to that, they were at in the beginning of the movie, they start talking about, like, Michael's evil was so bad that he actually instigated all this evil around the town, and people are fucking killing each other for no fucking reason. No. No, no, movie. The one who instigated all this shit was fucking Tommy Doyle. Did you forget that? I'm pretty sure that you did. He's the one that started the mob mentality. He's the one that started everything for fear of Michael and for his anger and all that stuff. It was Tommy who did all that shit, who instigated all this anger, all this hatred, all this vitriol. But whatever. Movie, fuck it. They then actually put Michael on top of a fucking of the hood of a car, and then after that, they start parading him around Haddonfield. People start seeing that shit, and they're just like, "Oh, Michael!" And then after that, they all follow this carousel with fucking cop cars and all that stuff on over to like a fucking I'm guessing the same fucking junkyard that kid was actually that the kid's family owned, and Michael and they take him off the hood, and then they put him right there, and you know where this is going. They throw his ass they roll his ass over to a car compactor. It's actually Laurie who rolls his ass into a car compactor, and it starts grinding all that shit. In which CGI was actually pretty cool, into seeing how was it that Michael actually got a car compactor right there and got turned into hamburger meat. Okay, fine. And then they go back to normal living, and that was Halloween ends, folks. Okay, now that I already gave you the rundown out of everything, out of the David Gordon Green trilogy, I'm gonna be honest with you. Listen, the first movie, it was actually pretty good to have a start. A lot of people ended up having a lot of hatred for Halloween Kills, but me personally, I ended up enjoying the shit out of it, because again, it has one of the most iconic scenes out of Halloween lore, and that is Michael actually killing all those firefighters. Not to mention, it actually kind of wanted to explore the fucking supernatural side out of Michael Myers. That this is just an evil that just can't be stopped. It can't be killed. There's no way to stop this fucking thing, and that there is something a lot more bigger than just a man that's actually wearing a mask and is fucking killing people. No, there's something a lot more scarier. And in this movie, you kind of see that they want to go with that with this new kid, but they just aren't. They when they pull the trigger, and they show that this kid is actually the next Michael Myers. And then after that, they kind of backtrack it in the end, and that kid ends up getting killed like a fucking nothing. And then Michael Myers shows up, who has only had one, two, yeah, two fucking kills, two kills. The 98-pound chick, and then after that, oh no, three fucking kills. Homeless guy that was homeless guy that was right there on the fucking that was hanging around in the sewer and all that shit. He got aced. Then after that, the fucking the that one douche cop, and the 98-pound woman. So that's pretty much all that he got. An embarrassing 3 kills for Michael Myers. And the other kid who actually had the most creative fucking kills and all that stuff, you would think that, okay, this is gonna be the next phase that is going to carry the on over to a new thing. So they're putting a fucking end to the Michael Myers and Laurie Strode thing, but the shape is still gonna live on. No, how I would have even respected if at the end of the movie, when they're actually picking up the Michael Myers body and all that shit, the body of Corey is his name. Probably should have started calling him Corey from the very beginning. Corey's body would have disappeared. I would have said, okay, I'm gonna respect that. And then Laurie seeing that stuff, that Corey has disappeared, and she sees that Michael Myers is right there. She's just like, fuck it, I'll deal with him later or whatever. And that could have been pretty good. And yet another one that everybody was talking about. In all the reviews that I have seen, everybody has actually talked about it. That how cool would it have been that while Michael Myers is getting fed into the car compactor, he actually comes back to life, grabs Laurie, and they both go inside the car compactor, thus ending the Laurie Michael Myers beef from the '78 movie all the way to this. It would have been a real good way to actually close all that stuff, but no, we didn't. Instead, Michael Myers only ends up getting 3 kills. That other kid ends up getting, that other kid. Oh wow, what a way! I mean, Michael Myers ended up getting bitched up by everybody. He got bitched out by Corey, the babysitter, and by Laurie Strode. All right. Fuck. This movie was bad. It was bad on so many levels. If you were to tell me which one out of the three movies from David Gordon Green, which one is your favorite out of the three, out of the trilogy, I would say Halloween Kills, 100%. I know that a lot of people didn't like it. I don't know why. Probably because Michael Myers actually wins. And as much as people want to freaking say, like, oh, it would be nice to end up having Michael win for once, like, you actually had that shit on Halloween Kills, and you didn't praise it. So shut up. And yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of reviewers that end up saying that, like, it would have been nice to end up seeing Michael win. Well, yeah, again, Halloween Kills. You didn't like it. So, all in all, out of 5 stars, I would actually give this a fucking low 1.5. Because it didn't really respect the lore. It didn't, it felt like it was not, it was dialogue heavy, and they just did not know where were they going to take the character, what were they going to do. And that's probably the biggest issue that I end up having with this one. Is just like, you already had something set up in Halloween Kills and on the first Halloween by showing that there is something inside of Michael that is a very scary entity that cannot be killed, that cannot be stopped, that cannot be, like, they've done this for 2 movies, and on the third movie he gets punked out like a bitch by a fucking wannabe. And it's not like the guy is super roided out or anything like that. You know, he's not like walking around right there and he's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill everybody. Like, no, nothing like that. What do you? He's just a regular fucking kid who just so happens to end up knowing that Michael Myers is right there. Ends up idolizing him at first, ends up helping him with a kill, and then eventually fucking bitches him out of his mask. Like, punk bitches him out of the mask. He's just, whoa. And so this movie's gonna be divisive. All right. Me personally, I didn't like it, but that's just me. Anyways, this has been Clutzy Joe. This video has actually been a little too long. It's almost going for the whole hour. It's my first long video, but I needed to talk about this. I needed to get this out of my chest. So, question, comments, likes, and subscribe. Everything is actually very much appreciated. If you like the movie, if you didn't like the movie, if you want to give me a like, if you don't want to give me a like, I mean, if you want to give me a thumbs down, any of it is actually very much appreciated. But just please end up hitting that freaking subscribe button. I'm gonna try to end up doing some more reviews about movies, especially the movies that are gonna be coming out. This has been Clutzy Joe. I hope that you guys end up enjoying the rest of your October, and I hope that you guys enjoy your Halloween a lot more than I enjoyed this piece of shit. So, Clutzy Joe signing out. Bye bye.